Okay, so there's our pictures. I'm Kate Fuller. I'm a senior director for Generation Schools Network. I've been in education for about 36 years, having taught just about every grade you can imagine. Also as an elementary school principal, and I've been a consultant now with Generation Schools for the last 6 years. Currently, I live in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, so I know we're all over the country. I'm curious where you're from, but let me have my colleague Shirley introduce herself to all of you. Oh, Shirley, you're on mute. I know she's never quiet, so when it was quiet, I knew something was wrong.
Thanks, Kate. Hi, I am Shirley Smith. I'm a senior education specialist at Generation Schools. I've been in the field of education for about 22 years with different lenses. I've been a special educator. I've worked with the social emotional department for DPS. I've been a peer evaluator. I have been an assistant principal. So I have many different layers and hats that I've played throughout education. Take it away, Kate.
Okay, so on our next slide, we'll tell you our playlist or our agenda, and then we'll take some time to hear from all of you. So on the next slide, Ellen, we have our playlist. Here we go. Our goals today are to connect and heal, build some capacity to support our students, to participate in some self-care activities, and learn some ways to integrate those self-care strategies in the classroom. And so we want to begin with our next slide, where we want to circle, welcome, and warm up. So a circle is what we ask and when we do in-person instruction each day with our students, so that it's inclusive. Being in a circle makes an equal standing. Everyone feels welcome. Everyone feels safe. No one's sitting behind them and worrying about who's back there. We can't do that virtually, but we would certainly love to hear from all of you briefly, just so that we all feel included and part of this process that we're sharing today. So if you would mind unmuting yourself and just tell us your name and your position that you currently have, and perhaps you have like one wish or one takeaway you want to have from this time that you're giving to this session. So I can see Katie, you're my next person on the list. Would you mind unmuting yourself and introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Katie Charleville. I teach in St. Louis, Missouri, and I am a pre-K through 8th grade music teacher. And I'm hoping to get just a little bit more information and background. We're doing a lot of trauma-informed teaching and supports in our schools right now. So I just want to kind of get a little bit more well-rounded basis.
Yeah, certainly. You're going to get some more information around that. It's great. You're going to attach some new learning to that. You might see some music stuff in my background. My husband was a former music teacher, so and a band teacher, so his hearing's a little rough these days from all those crazy instruments that he listened to for all those years. Okay, Ellen, would you jump on board and unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Ellen Sarkeesian. I am the Senior Project Manager at Generation Schools, so I support with all of the social emotional learning programming efforts. And I hoped, well, being someone from Generation Schools, I hope to just, for this training today, learn from all of you and just get a better understanding of what's happening out in the fields. And where we sort of align with these different practices for adults, SEL, and well-being. So thanks for being here today.
Great. And I have an SM on the screen.
That would be me. My name is Suzanne Bickness, and I am a elementary school counselor in Mesa, Arizona. And I just want to, I always enjoy learning about, the latest information on social emotional learning, how I can better support my teachers.
Nice.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Your teachers must love you.
They do. I love them too. And we have a good group of kids too. So it's a great school.
Good. That's wonderful. And Josh, would you unmute yourself for us?
Yeah, I'm Josh Holbrook from Moorhead, Kentucky. I work with the Rowan County School Systems coming from an EBD background. This year, as part of our trauma-informed care plan, we've enlisted the position of social emotional learning coach, which I was lucky enough to get, and really just looking to take away implementation within the classroom. So ways that we can
Right. Woo!
help our teachers.
You get to coach them. That's awesome. How about you, Teresa? We can't hear you, Teresa. Can anyone else hear her? I'm not hearing her. Shirley, are you hearing her? Nope. She's going to figure it out. Maybe not. You know what, Teresa, you could just put in the chat. There we go. I was just going to say, your mic might not be connected. Maybe you could just put in the chat a little something about yourself. Thank you. Okay. While she's typing away, let's see about Nicole. Nicole, could you unmute yourself and introduce yourself and see if there's a takeaway you want?
Hi, I'm Nicole Parker. I'm a school social worker in Sierra Vista, Arizona. And I'm also the SEL lead for our district. So it sounds like similar to what Josh is doing. So yeah, I would like to have some things that I can take back to my teachers.
Great. Well, we were planning on giving you some things. So Teresa Del Mar is from Winslow, Arizona, hoping to bring some self-care and SEL ideas for staff. Yes, thank you so much. Marissa.
Hi, Marisha Perkins. I'm in Texas. I have 13 years. This is my 13th year in education. This is my first position out of the classroom. I'm the social emotional learning specialist here, and I'm on a pre-K only campus. Our AP role dissolved this year due to budget cuts, and my principal asked me to be in this role. So technically it's like a counselor role, kind of, but I have my master's in principal certification. So I have like other duties as well, but I would like to see unique things for the little ones and takeaways for my teachers in the classroom.
Okay. How much fun that must be with those little ones. The littles are so cute. So Marie, thanks for joining us. What we're doing is just introducing ourselves briefly, and if you could add perhaps one takeaway you'd like to have from our session. So if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself, we'd love to get to know you. Well, maybe Marie is not quite connected, so we might need to come back to her. I do want to tell you that I keep getting flashed on my screen that my internet is unstable, which is classic, right? When you're going to go and present. So the best thing I can try to do now is stop my video so that maybe it'll strengthen the bandwidth. So I'm going to do that now. I don't know if any of you had an experience like I've been having. Some of your conversations when you're talking, it's very herky jerky and I'm having a hard time hearing it. So that's another indication that it's my internet. So turn that off. Okay, let's continue, Ellen, with our work today. Thanks everyone for taking time to introduce yourself. So what we know is that nearly half of all of our teachers report this high level of daily stress. We know that the burnout rate is very high. As we work with teachers across the country and administrators across the country, we're hearing this trend. Teachers are burned out. Administration people are not able to even find employees right now. There's a real crisis, a real shortage. And a lot of that is that teachers are just saying, no more, I can't take any more. And so we know for a fact that we must be more intentional about being compassionate with ourselves and with our students, with our colleagues, that we must address the mental health issues and the importance of self-care. So our students, you know, they deserve the mindful teacher. They deserve a teacher that's completely present and able to help support them. But in order to do that, we definitely have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is teachers' self-care, teachers' mental health. So going to the next slide, there's actually a term for it called compassion fatigue. It's also called secondary trauma. So we know that when we work with our students that are distressed, that they're having a great deal of problems going on in their lives, that we end up suffering a little bit from that experience of working with them. So we have that secondary traumatic state or compassion fatigue. So it's definitely a documented real thing. And we know that we need to address how to help support all of us from burnout, all of us from not being so exhausted. So continuing on with the next slide, Michelle Obama has said, here's some good news, right? We can take action by normalizing that self-care for ourselves. She said we need to do a better job of putting ourselves at the top of our own to-do lists, which is so incredibly hard because as educators, we're always putting those lists in place, like what students need, what our families need. That's who we are as people. But we need to take the time and make sure that we put ourselves up at the top of the to-do list. It's that old phrase we hear about the oxygen mask. You have to put your oxygen mask on yourself first before you help another person. And so self-care is that whole mindset of you have to make time for yourself. And we're going to continue on, and Shirley's going to share some things about adult social emotional learning.
Hello all. Like Kate, my internet is a little shaky, so I just want to make sure that.
So Shirley, are you there?
Yes. Can you all hear me? Okay, so Kate,
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm trying to make it as strong as possible. And it's okay, Chanel. We're all in this together. You're on time. The party doesn't start till you get here, right? So when we talk about why adult SEL, one great thing about GSN, we have a curriculum that is aligned with the CASEL 5 competencies framework. And we took this from the website from CASEL, why adult SEL? And again, basically, it's more important that when you look at the first paragraph, and it talks about adults who have the ability to recognize, understand, label, express, and regulate emotions are more likely to demonstrate patience and empathy, encourage healthy communication, and create safe learning environments. So just think about that as adults. And then when you see the next two paragraphs, it says teachers and school leaders. So as an adult, as a teacher or a school leader, especially Marsha, you definitely have your plate full now, coming into something and trying to learn and implement new things in the beginning of the year. It's really important that we try and wrap our heads around that. We definitely, like Kate said, need to put ourselves first. We need to put ourselves at the top of the to-do list to make sure we take care of ourselves first before we can start taking care of our partners, our students, or anyone, even our pets and everything else, right? Does anyone have any questions as far as why we need to be tuned into adult SEL? Anyone want to share out?
Teacher burnout. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
That's the big one.
Absolutely. Always something being added to our plates, right? Oh, here we go. Here's another thing that we have to do. Here's another thing we have to learn. One thing we want to keep in mind when we're working with social emotional learning, you want to ensure that It's not something extra that you're putting on your plate. Okay, social emotional learning, just like Kate was saying, when we do the welcome, if we do a circle, just checking in with our students, it can be something as simple as that, and then work towards something at a higher level. But it's really important when we talk about social emotional learning in your classrooms that you build those relationships with your students in the beginning. Day one of school.
Shirley, I just chiming in on that, by building those relationships with students, we're fortifying our own mental health by having those relationships. Those relationships feed us also as the adults.
Absolutely.
And Chanel has jumped in on our chat room. I just want to recognize that she's from Salem, Oregon. So thanks, Chanel, for coming. And she wants to ground herself in SEL before jumping in with the students. So good job already. She's modeling for us how to take care of ourselves first, put that oxygen mask on first before helping others. And Jen is also joining us from Hayward. She wants to develop some skills and resources to finding a calm and peaceful state to begin the school year. Sorry, but that's a great goal, and we are going to help you get there. And I'm hoping that I'll be in a calm, peaceful state too. So thanks, Jen. That's a great goal.
Absolutely. I need that Zen of yours, Jen. I really do.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Next slide, Ellen. So building resilience. So at least for the last year and a half, if you're coming back to the teaching profession, whether it's the same role or an additional role, you've definitely had the capacity. You have built resilience for yourself. And that's by just simply, simply put, resilience is how we weather the storms in our lives and rebound after something difficult. So just take a step back and think about that. Since COVID, we have really, I can speak for myself, I have bounced back from a lot of different things. I'm really grateful to be here. I've lost family, I've lost friends, but at the same time, I haven't given up and I'm still going. And I still, I try to wake up every day in a positive mood, even though some days are worse than others. But at the same time, I'm just glad to be here. So just being able to utilize gratitude with that aspect is really, really important, I think. Elena Aguilar, she's the author of Onward. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Cultivating Emotional Resilience in Educators. So she wrote this book. Next slide, please. And basically it talks about how as a teacher, she wished she had this book she could have went by as a guideline. So what she did, she started off with the month of June, and the first chapter is Know Yourself. And with that chapter, basically, she starts it off in June so you can read the book, and then you really get to know yourself, who you are inside and out. It's similar to some of the competencies of self-awareness, the one competency for social emotional learning through CASEL. And CASEL is, the acronym is the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. So with the Onward book, and she also has a workbook, Elena Aguilar goes through every month with a different theme for each month. So this past year, Generation School Networks, we worked with this book with some of our clientele, our schools, with the teachers, the administrators, counselors, and social workers. And we went through this book month by month. And a lot of the things resonated with a lot of the clients that we had. And it was really, really great and empowering for themselves, for them to see things that really resonated and stood out for them. Next slide, please. So again, Elena Aguilar, as you can see, these are the 12 chapters and they do align with the months of the year. Again, Know Yourself was chapter 1 and it started in June. So that way, she said in June, when we come to a calmness from getting out of school, you get to know yourself inside and out. You figure out what it is you love about teaching, love about yourself personally, and other things that may transpire throughout your lives. And so that's where she was coming from with this book. It's really a great read. It's a great tool to enhance your SEL skills as well as your self-teacher skills. She gives a lot of examples on how you can do a lot of self-care with yourself, with your colleagues. It's just really a great resource. Next slide, please. So here we are. I don't know about you, but going through the COVID-19 with my granddaughter, being in person and then being remote and then being hybrid, just going back and forth. And then with the emotions and even now and going in person with the new Delta variant, in looking at tracking my own emotions about different things, it's really important that we know and how and understand our emotions, right? I don't know if any of you saw the movie Inside Out, but that was a great, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. That was a great example of how you can track your emotions and looking at some days, even within days, the same day, you may have 2 or 3 emotions, and that's okay. But when you're tracking your emotions, look at how or what triggers you for that emotion. What did you notice about your emotions today? And in thinking about your emotions, how of a typical day that was. So just think about what are some of the things that we can change those negative emotions to positive emotions, right? But knowing ourselves again, just like Elena Aguilar had started off the chapter, her book with, knowing ourselves, having that self-awareness is the main and most important component, I think, of social-emotional competencies. And those are some of the things that we have to teach our students about, getting to know themselves and who they are. It's really important that they learn that it's okay to have emotions. We just need to teach them how to express them in the proper manner. Right? So take a minute now and just think about your day and how it started. Where are you at with your emotions? Is it a good day? Is it an okay day? Or do we need to reset for the day? And again, these same techniques you can be utilized inside your classrooms with your students. Next slide, please. So here is an activity that actually Ellen, she found this article, and it was from a teacher here in Colorado, in Littleton, I think it was, by the name of Holly. And so she, in the midst of COVID, she came up with an activity to share with her students. First, she started with herself, and this made her feel better. And the activity is called Finding Your True North Star. And so Holly came to the presumption of not being in control of everything. And then she became overwhelmed with things. So then she took a step back. And what she decided to do is to make a list of what she was in control versus what she was not in control of. And so that list became a positive way for her to journal and go through the different emotions, the different things that she was going through on a daily. And then when Holly wasn't utilizing her journal, she found some different calm meditation apps or activities to do for herself, which she also shared with her students. And again, this activity specifically, it's called Finding Your True North.
So with my staff, I'm just going to chime in here. They were given gratitude notebooks and asked to start each day before their feet hit the ground to write 3 things for which they were grateful for, to have a lens all day long of looking for things to be grateful. And then on another page, they could list all these activities, just like Holly did, that they can default to. So when they're in that midst of stress and anxiety and feeling overwhelmed, they have a quick resource right in their notebook to go to. And you can see Holly likes to go walking or play in some sand. So I'm wondering, Shirley, if we could ask our participants to put in the chat if they have a go-to activity that they do when they're feeling overwhelmed or feeling depressed, because I sure would like to add on to my personal list. So would you all just type in the chat your go-to activity that puts you in a calmer place or happier place?
Right. Thank you, Kate. Ellen, can you go to the next slide?
So let's see. Oh, we've got some great ideas. Gardening and walking, looking at a sunset. They're going fast. Gym, exercise. Yeah. Listening to instrumental music or going for a walk. Exercise is good. Yes.
And I would add puzzles. I found over COVID to do puzzles. My granddaughter and I have been doing 500-piece puzzles. So that's a calmness for me. That puts me in a great mood.
And Shirley, I tried to do that, which was hilarious because I found it made me crazy when I was doing a puzzle because I was getting frustrated and I wanted it done. So it's just one of those things, you find what matches you, right?
Right.
Where for another person, it might make them nuts.
Right.
So we've got some journaling, focusing on my why, coloring, going for a hike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All of these are great activities. Can you think offhand anything that can you think offhand anything that your students, if you were asked them this question, what would they say? What would they do? We already know video games. What else do you think they would do?
And people are having a hard time typing on this. Play outside. Okay, music. Music, playing chess. Okay, cool. Several musics. Poppets. I don't know what Poppets is.
Marsha, what's Poppets? Can you explain that to us?
Marisha from, oh, sorry. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, there it is.
Oh, Marsha.
Yeah, Marisha. It's those little plastic little, I don't even have them in here. I teach a character ed room, in a character ed room, and I have some, like, they're like a popular thing now. It's like a fidget, but you can use them for educational things as well.
Okay. Never heard of that. Thank you. Nice. Okay. TikTok music, listen to music or playing chess. Okay. Absolutely.
So you can see our students don't have a plethora of go-to activities. We have to help ourselves and help them create their lists of activities they can default to.
Right. Absolutely. And this can start even at the young age, even with pre-K. It's really important with the SEL also, you know, getting to know who they are, their interests, what helps them put a smile on their face and different things like that. So that's, I mean, overall, we're in this together, and whatever we can do and share with one another, I mean, that's an asset. Ellen, can you go to the next slide? So with this one, it said, again, like Kate had said earlier, it first begins with you, right? When you're on that plane, like she said, and you're traveling with the baby or anyone else, it says, put your oxygen on first. And I think as educators, because we wear so many hats, whether we're educator, social worker, psychologist, admin, or all of the above, we become overwhelmed, but we forget to take care of ourselves first. And so even if that means just taking a walk from one hall to the other, taking a walk to the restroom, even if we don't have to go, just having that small break, that can help us depending on whatever we're going through, you know, because our students come to us for a lot of things because we are their safe haven. So it's just real important. Again, we just want to reiterate to make sure you take care of yourself first. Next slide, Ellen. So again, it starts with you. So if you take a moment and look at this list, these are just some small activities. Stand and stretch. Write down 5 things that you're grateful for in life and partner up and share that. And you can have students do that as well. This is one of my favorites we have at GSN. I'm sorry, Kate, I was just going to talk about having our happy hour virtually with our friends. We've been doing that. We did that over COVID. It was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Yeah. And what I like about this, Shirley, and like the happy hour thing, is that these are just built into your daily life for the most part. Just, you know, when we were giving our list before, it was like a separate activity, like I go exercise or I go take a hike. That's like an event of itself. Whereas like the music can be woven into your regular day life. Well, like one of the things I used to do when my children were little for my self-care was whenever I got a chance to go to the grocery store by myself, that was a big treat. Instead of the little ones in the cart screaming, "Can I have that? I want that." If I got to go by myself, it was all about getting that Starbucks coffee. And then I go up and down the aisle so slowly, every single aisle, leaving the grocery store in a Zen state. So think about things that you can do that are just part of your everyday routine and life. One person, when I was talking about this, said that she bought some really wonderful smelling shower gel. And her big treat for herself to start the day was when she showered, she had this great smelling gel. She took her shower. That was just a regular daily routine, but she felt pampered starting her day. Can any of you think of any other ideas that are just woven into your very daily routine that we can learn from you? You can throw them in the chat if you have some ideas. I could use them. Kids in bed early. Yes, have some me time.
Right.
Making coffee first thing in the morning. Oh, it smells so good. Yes. And then doing a gratitude list while making coffee. Yes.
Absolutely.
Great.
I think sometimes as human beings, we sometimes forget to know that we are in a position because we're still here. Like I said earlier, I lost a lot of friends and family. So we're still here. So we're here to tell our story. So I think sometimes we just get caught up in, oh my gosh, I got to do this, that, and the other. But at least we here and we have the ability to do what we need to do day to day. Right? We get to do our jobs as far as working with children, working with our coworkers, and just being able to get up every day and just do that. I know my sister told me when I was 3 or 4 and I used to take over the TV with Sesame Street and had my papers all the way around the room. She said she knew then I was going to be a teacher. So, just being able to look back, at that makes me smile. Just thinking back, it's on the list also. Think of something that makes you smile. You know what I mean? I know when my grandbaby was first born, I was like, wow, how so many people are like, oh, don't call me granny. I'm like, I am proud to be called grandma. That just puts a shine on my face. And I'm just grateful that she's here now and I'm able to spend time with her in her growth. Next slide. So with our next slide, we talk about practice what we preach, right? So as teachers, we tell our students to make sure they get enough sleep, make sure they eat right, make sure they do this, make sure they take care of themselves. But again, we don't do that for ourselves. So basically, we just need to make sure, put yourself at the top of that to-do list and make sure you do something, even if it's small, do something for yourself. Get up early in the morning and go hide in a corner and just have 5 minutes of peace by yourself. Just take care of you. If you get to work and become overwhelmed, just find another corner and go for 2 minutes and just take care of you. Because again, it's easy to tell other people to take care of themselves. And we don't do it. We do not do it. I know I don't. I'm really bad with it. Being the mom, I'm the youngest child of 9. I have 3 children and 1 granddaughter, but I am the hierarchy of my family. There's only 5 of us left, and everyone still comes to me. So I know I'm really bad at that. So I've tried to practice that within the last month, and I'm doing fairly well, but I just have to, another idea you can do is go to a calendar and go to every 3rd Wednesday on that calendar and say, I'm going to take 5 minutes for myself and drive across town to that Starbucks instead of the Starbucks in my around the corner from my house. That way, that's going to make you or force you to remember, oh, I did say on the calendar I was going to do this. And so maybe you will. And just do that for every month. Something small, doesn't have to be real big, but we need that. We need that.
I love that idea, Shirley. If you schedule it in my calendar, then I follow it and I do it. So if I don't have it calendared, it often goes by the wayside. So I love that suggestion.
Absolutely. Next slide, please.
We're going to talk about gratitude. There's actual science and research about gratitude that it does reduce the stress. It helps us overcome trauma. It fosters resilience. So that even in the worst of times, if we can find things for which to be grateful, it helps us bounce back. It also has the power to heal and the power to bring us hope and the power to help us cope. Gratitude is just like one of my favorite topics. And so I would like you to think about how to surround yourself with other people that have a gratitude mindset. So for example, when I was a principal, I had a school that had 68% free and reduced lunch. So we had a pretty high at-risk population. And we wanted to change the climate and culture of our building to have one of gratitude. So we made it a theme. We called it the attitude of gratitude. And we built in throughout, we wove everywhere the attitude of gratitude. For example, as I mentioned, the teachers each got a journal and they had homework every morning was to jot down 3 things for which they were grateful for before they started the day, because that just right away puts us in this lens of searching for things for which to be grateful for. We had banners in our school and we put signs in in the hallways. So there was like a sign by the PE room, the gymnasiums, and it said, "I'm excited and grateful for PE because," so it was just a sentence stem. And so when teachers were lined up in the hallway waiting for their class to be able to go into PE, they would pause and stop and say, "Hey, who wants to tell me something they're grateful for about PE? Who wants to tell me something they're excited about PE?" And just in various places, at the cafeteria, when you're lined in the cafeteria, it was a sentence stem. I'm grateful and excited about going into the cafeteria because. So we were just constantly weaving it in. The classrooms teachers had marble jars. And instead of putting a marble jar when everyone got their homework in, we shifted that paradigm into, we put marbles in the jars for anytime we were grateful for how we were treating each other. So when the teacher would see Sarah being really kind and picking up papers that fell out of Jordan's desk, she'd call that out and say, "Hey, you were just so kind and helpful. Come up and put a marble in our gratitude jar." And pretty soon that built momentum. So kids were recognizing it throughout their day and saying, "Hey, I noticed so-and-so helped Sarah on the swing when she fell off. They need to put a marble in our gratitude jar." And then once that jar was filled, they had a celebration, the pajama parties or the extra recess time. Other gratitude ideas were, at the end of the day, the kids would write in their journals things they learned at school and something for which they were grateful for. And their homework then was to go home, and at the dinner table, they asked their families what they were grateful for. And I'll never forget when we started doing that, how parents would come up to me and tell me, like on the playground or in the parking lot, how their child had come home and asked everybody what they were grateful for at the dinner table. And this parent just laughed. She said, "We thought that she was kidding." And, and it was a second grader. And she said, "No, this is my homework. I have to ask you at the dinner table what everyone's grateful for." And sure enough, everyone took a turn sharing out something. And these parents were thrilled with it. It became habits for many of our families' dinner time, to start their dinner with everyone taking a turn, sharing something they were grateful for. And it changed the tone of dinner, and it became a talking time instead of, asking your child, "What'd you learn today?" And then they just shrug, "I don't know, nothing." Instead, by building this conversation about gratitude, it changed the whole dinner conversation to be much more verbal and positive. So my point in all that is, we sometimes don't surround ourselves with people that have positive mindsets. And so let's build that capacity for us in our school setting so that we are all having an attitude of gratitude. So on the next slide, we're going to show you just an activity you can do. It's called the gratitude. And stand up in your class and have a ping pong ball, or in my case, I'm going to turn on my video, and I hope that I don't have a bad internet connection. In this case, I have a ball. I'm pass it to Shirley, and I'm going to say something I'm grateful for, and then Shirley's going to pass the ball back to me and tell me something she's grateful for. So how it works. So I am grateful that I got to wake up early this morning and go for a swim. Your turn.
Thanks, I got that, Kate. Right back at you. I am grateful that I woke up and I'm able to spend part of my day with my granddaughter. I'm gonna throw it back at you.
Okay, thanks. So you see the point of the game is to go back and forth, having things, sharing things you're grateful for. And these are not humongous things. These are not that I won the lottery. It's just simple things in our life. So we'd like you guys to take a second and put in the chat something for which you're grateful for, so that you get to play gratitude ping pong with us. Go ahead and type away in the chat for us.
Oh my gosh, Whataburger, Mersha, you are wrong for that. We don't have that here in Colorado. You are so wrong.
Oh, well, yes, I am thankful for that.
Puppy, supportive team at work, sunshine today. Oh yeah, for my kids. Our presenters, oh, that's so very nice. That just filled my bucket.
Thank you for that, Josh.
Yeah.
Co-workers.
Awesome. So already you have an attitude of gratitude. Thank you. All right, folks, let's go to the next slide. And that was just, the next slide actually just tells us to have gratitude. You might even want to pick up a gratitude rock. We already did the chat box, but one thing that this picture shows us is a gratitude rock. So one thing you can do is when you think about one of your favorite places that makes you happy, if it's a place that's outside, you might want to go there and pick up a little rock, a little stone, and have that in your pocket. And that just is something you can carry around with you. And if you're stressed out or something's bothering you and you feel that rock or that stone, you remember your happy place, and it just can calm down and put you in a much better mindset. So you might want to get yourself your own gratitude rock. And going on to our next slide.
So again, at GSN, we have a curriculum that we created ourselves. In addition to random acts of kindness, we also utilize that for our primary grades. And so one of the things they talk about is when you wake up, what is something you can think of positive to do? Or when you eat breakfast, or if you're just talking to someone throughout the day, or when you go outside, or when you're getting ready to go to bed. So if we look at the next slide, one of the things we can do in the morning is send a text to someone, a positive text to someone. Send a positive text to yourself. Eat breakfast. Make it healthy or not. I kind of been on the not healthy side with, I've been doing way too much bagel with the salmon spread. So I'm just gonna say I've been doing way too much, but I appreciate that. I needed that. That's something I needed for myself. Or talk to someone, compliment them. Again, compliment yourself. What about going outside and maybe picking up something off the ground? Or even before you go to bed, creating your own gratitude list, or creating things that, again, you would like to do for the next day. But again, putting yourself at that top of that to-do list. Next slide. Now, what do you think about this? Doesn't this say a lot? This is not fair. 6-year-olds laugh an average of 300 times a day, while adults only laugh 15 to 100 times a day. What I wouldn't give to be 6 again, right? That laughter. So let's just think about that. How can we implement more laughter in our lives? How can we utilize this for our own teacher self-care, for our coworkers? What can we do? These are just simple things you can think about. It doesn't have to be complex. Next slide, please.
I know when I was principal, I would always start the morning announcements. I would always start the morning announcements with a silly, joke, the joke of the day. And some of the jokes were just so awful, knock-knock jokes. And you would hear the groans in the hallway when I would tell a joke on intercom. You hear this, oh, and then people would be laughing throughout the day. Come up to me saying, oh, that joke was so bad, or they thought it was so great. Or I'd have parents come and tell me they learned a new joke from their child because it was on the morning announcements. So start your day with just a little bit of laughter always helps. We're going to go to the next slide and carry on the theme that Shirley started with, laughter. And we're going to learn about a thing called laughter yoga. It's a real thing, folks. I've never heard of it before, but I think it's a great technique. And we're going to watch a video. Now, this is about 7 minutes long, so it's a bit long, but it's well worth learning about. So Ellen, could you go ahead and start the video for us about laughter yoga?
An astonishing 83% of Americans are stressed about their jobs. And about 1 in 2 of us struggle to stay happy. In fact, I'm one of them. What about you? Well, I'm here to help you with that today by teaching you one thing and one thing only: how to laugh for no reason at all. Why? Because when we laugh, our bodies release a flood of chemicals and positive neurotransmitters that stimulate our brains, our immune system, and our nervous systems. In fact, when we laugh, our blood flow increases by about 50%. That's how we get the rosy cheeks. And laughing can actually burn calories. If you were to laugh for about 15 minutes a day, every day of the year, you could lose up to 5 pounds. All of these benefits intrigued me about laughter yoga, but I still had no idea what to expect when I went to my first class. The instructor started by giving us background on how laughter yoga was started in 1995 by a doctor in India. He found that our bodies and minds can't discern the difference between fake and real laughter. So we don't need a comedian and we don't need a catalyst to reap the real benefits of laughter. So I said, sign me up. And so we started. We warmed up with pranayama yogic breathing. And then things started to get uncomfortable. I had to laugh for no reason. And the instructor could sense my nervousness. So she looked at me and she said, Ida, fake it till you make it. Ha 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 ha. Awkward. But it worked. It took the pressure off. It showed me that I shouldn't worry about what other people think or how it felt. The end game is a healthy life. I had to believe that I deserve to be happy and I deserve to laugh. And so do you. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna fake it till we make it. We're gonna laugh for no reason at all, because science tells us that within 45 to 90 seconds, your body will start to release that flood of positive neurotransmitters. And within about 2 minutes, fake laughter becomes real. So here we go. Who's ready to laugh? All right, I need everyone to stand up, get the blood flowing. Okay. There are two primary techniques to laughter yoga. The first is breathing. The focus is on filling up our diaphragm, increasing our amount of oxygen, and helping our blood flow. The second is, of course, laughter. The focus here is on deep belly laughter. This increases the circulation of our lymphatic systems, and it jumpstarts our immune systems. Okay, so to warm up, I want everyone to take a deep breath in, raise your hands towards the ceiling, and I want you to let your breath out with an audible ha. I want you to push it out. Ready? Go. Nice job. Okay, one more time. Deep breath in, fill up your lungs. This time you're going to laugh on your exhale. Ready? Go. Ha 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 ha. One more time. Deep breath in. Fill up your lungs. From the bottom of your belly, let it out. Ha 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 ha. Nice job. Okay. Now we're warmed up. For our first laughter yoga exercise, we're going to do something called cell phone laughter. Speaking on our cell phones is something we do every day, but today we're going to make it more fun. I want you to pretend that you just heard the funniest story in the world, okay? Get out your fake cell phones. There is no right or wrong way to do this. Just have fun with it. Take a deep breath in and laugh. Stories up here up front. It's good stuff. All right. For our second laughter yoga exercise, we're going to do one of my favorites, shaking hands laughter. Shaking hands is something that we do every day, and it helps us connect with others. But today we're going to amplify it and connect with laughter as well. So I want you to shake hands with those around you, but you're going to look them in the face, and you're going to laugh. Ready? Deep breath in. And laugh. High five. Thank you. All right, I can tell you guys are getting the hang of it. This is great. Okay, for our last exercise, I'm actually going to have you guys decide what we laugh about. I want you to take a moment and reflect about something that's been stressing you out the past few days. And we're going to take that and we're going to use it as a way to remind ourselves that we can't always change the outcomes in life, but we can change how we react to them. Okay, so what's something that's been stressing you guys out lately? Go ahead and yell it out. All right. Y'all are stressed about a lot of stuff. Okay, but I heard cell phone bill a few times, so let's use that. Okay. I want you to pull out your outrageous cell phone bill with all its crazy roaming charges and overages, okay? And we're going to take a minute to remind ourselves that while we can't change the outcome of that crazy cell phone bill, we can forgive ourselves, we can laugh for a moment, and we can have fun with it, okay? So deep breath in and laugh at your cell phone bill. Thank you. I don't know if you realized it or not, but you just laughed for about 5 minutes, and I didn't tell you a single joke. You know, we actually laugh about 300 times a day as children, but only 30 as adults. I hope this has shown you how easy it is to bring laughter back into your life, to feel lighter and happier, and to laugh. It's within your power to make your narrative a joyful one. You decide. Thank you.
Oh man, that just cracks me up. I laugh just at how funny they all look doing that. But I do want to tell you from experience, one of my favorite teachers when I was a principal, her name was Lori, and she always smiled and had a giggle just all day long. She was smiling and would giggle at things. And yeah, you know, I knew she had a rough life. Like she lived on a ranch and they got up like at 4:30 in the morning to take care of the animals, and sometimes things went wrong, or the animals had a problem, or her mother was very ill, and she had some big issues. And so one day I asked her, I said, Lori, how do you do it? You always are smiling, you always have a ready giggle. And she said, just like in the TED Talk, I fake it till I make it. I don't always have a great attitude, but I just fake it and I smile, and pretty soon I'm a happier person. So she definitely modeled that for me, to fake it till you make it. It works. And we're going to go on to the next slide and show you another way just to help yourself giggle, and that's with memes. And these are some school related memes. So when the bell rings and the teacher forgot to mention homework, little girl is going for the door. She's out of here. The one when someone asks, is all your grading done? That doesn't happen often. You know, I remember carrying my papers in the back of my car, and sometimes they just traveled with me for days. They didn't get graded. They just went for road trips in the back of my car. But my favorite is the bottom left. When you find out your worst behaved student has 3 younger siblings. That look on his face just does me in every time, because I have had that happen. Like I got through the school year and thought I just made it through, you know, we both survived. And then I look at my class list and see, oh my gosh, I've got his younger sister coming next year. Oh, that look just does me in. Sorry. I'm having a little laughter moment. So I'm wondering if you have some things that you laugh at. I was thinking in terms of movies, because I need some good movie suggestions. If you could, in the chat box, if you can think of a movie that makes you laugh, I would appreciate it. I think I need to watch some movies that make me laugh. I was thinking of a really oldie but goodie, Mrs. Doubtfire. That always made me laugh. And every year we watch like the Vacation, Christmas Vacation. Sort of a tradition, and it's so old now. So does anybody in the chat box, if you could put in any movies that make you laugh, we might all have a good Netflix list to watch. Big Daddy. Okay, I'm going to be writing some of these down. Clue. I haven't seen that one. White Chicks. Oh, Big Daddy's hilarious. Okay. Big Daddy gets extra points. Home Alone. Classic. Clue. Yeah. Okay, well, if any of you think of any more, put them in the chat, because I could use some good movies to make me laugh. We're going to go on to our next slide and just shift a little bit from laughing to checking in with our bodies and take, oh, Bridesmaid. Oh gosh, okay, we got some more there. Old cartoons and sitcoms. All right, these are good. We're going to keep looking at those. Thanks, guys. Going into some mindfulness where we're just calming our bodies and brains down. And so we're going to do the body scan activity. So I got a flash up saying my internet's unstable. So I'm going to go back to stopping my video. Sorry about that. And I'm going to lead you in a mindfulness activity called the body scan. Now, all of you will get the PowerPoint. And so this is a live link activity. You just click on that body scan activity that's written in blue, and it'll give you all the instructions, as well as all the other, we're going to give you a list of some other ideas that you can click on. So let's begin. Begin by bringing your attention to your environment. Slowly look around and notice that you are safe in this moment. Bring your attention into your body. You can close your eyes if it feels comfortable, or just maintain a soft gaze. Notice your body. Notice that it's seated. Where are you seated? Can you feel the support of the chair or the floor that's beneath you? Take a few deep, long breaths. And as you take those deep breaths, bring in more oxygen. And when you exhale, you might experience a sense of relaxing more deeply. You can notice your feet. Notice the sensations of your feet touching the floor. Can you feel the weight and the pressure? Notice your legs against the chair. Notice your back against the chair supporting you. Let's stretch out our spine up, breathing oxygen into each vertebrae. Bring attention to your shoulders. Roll them back and breathe. Notice your hands and your arms. Do your best to soften them. Notice your neck and your jaw. Do your best to allow them to be soft. Notice your whole body is present. And take one more deep breath. Okay. Shirley, will you share some more ideas for us?
Absolutely.
Our next slide, please.
Thank you for that, Kate.
Mm-hmm.
That within itself, I was trying to time it. It didn't take a lot of time, but you were able to relax. So if that means if you need to walk to the car and do that on lunch break, just take that time again for yourself. And again, everyone will be sent this PowerPoint, and the links are right with these self-care resources. You look at, you're doing a great job, 5 strategies for teacher self-care, why teachers say mindfulness is transforming work, body scan activity that Kate just did, and then just using some of your strengths activities. Again, you'll be given this and you'll click on the links and it takes you right to the information in which we have for you. And remember, you don't have to take 30 and 40 minutes to do a mindfulness technique. Just take what you need. Go to the car. That walk to the car could be good enough. Getting in the car and just sitting there. Now, don't take the keys with you just to drive off, because you have to come back and teach the children. But just taking that break, sometimes we don't, take the initiative and take care of ourselves. And just remember, the work is going to get done, but we need to have you in the right mindset and doing the work. So with the next slide, if you would be so kind, can you put one takeaway in the chat, or if you would like to share that aloud? One takeaway from this session today. What's one thing you think you'll be able to take and implement within your own life or within your classroom? Laughing, absolutely.
Mhm.
Creating an attitude of gratitude, absolutely. Yes, putting me first, absolutely. We forget to do that, and we have to do that. That's how we become better us. True North, absolutely. And with True North, there's also a link to that article, and it tells you all the details about Holly and how she came up with everything. Right, Teresa, each person's self-care is different. Offering multiple options for staff is very important. And keep in mind, a lot of these activities you can also do with your students. Yes, track your emotions. And if you haven't seen Inside Out, because I hadn't seen it when Ellen we did a kickoff last year in August. And I was like, Inside Out, I hadn't seen the movie. And so when I went back and I watched it with my granddaughter, I was like, wow, that is so relevant to social emotional learning, right? With all the different emotions that we have to deal with. And that's also one of the activities in Elaine Aguilar's book, Onward. Just getting in touch with yourself. And it's okay not to be okay, right? No one's perfect. So once we can come to that conclusion, we can all be better us. You can be a better you. So if you would be so kind, also, Ellen put in the feelings wheel is a great resource to use also. Thank you for that, Ellen. Ellen, can you also put in the chat the survey? If you would be so kind to fill that survey out, we love your feedback. And also, we will give you this PowerPoint and you have our information. If you need more information on social emotional learning, self-care, we have a lot of information. We have information talking about executive function. We just did a lot of work on that. So if you just need some other tools, some different things you need to work on inside your classrooms with your teams, please contact us. And I hope this was beneficial to you. And anything else that we need to talk about before we leave, anything that just stands out as a question that you may have before we leave that we can assist you with. Kate, did you want to say anything else?
No, I'll say it's been a pleasure, and thank you all for participating and giving us some good ideas for us to use in our own life. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. And good luck to you with this school year. You all are going to thrive this school year. We got this. We've been through one tough year. You got this. We're on the downslide now.
Okay.
Thank you and have a great evening.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.